What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael. For those of you that are new, we're going to be speaking on the Aries for this reading, right? As you see from this card, I'm going to read a slight description of the Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and represents the beginning of the astrology wheel. Symbolizes a ram, Aries are action-oriented and ready to go. They are always passionate and excited for a new adventure. This feisty fire sign connects with the world through a courageous zeal and drive for success. Aries are fiercely independent and can often jump into something before fully ready. This is both a major blessing and a caution for this ambitious sign, as they are here to break boundaries with their trailblazing efforts. Right? So that's just a slight description of the Aries. Let's begin. This is going to be coming from the messages from the ancestors. Oh, I'm sorry. I like to put it over here because I feel like this is a little bit better. Right? Plus, this camera is a lot more reliable than my laptop. So we're going to go ahead, because sometimes you'll see that it freezes, but we're not trying to speak these into existence. So we're going to refrain from talking about that stuff, right? We're just going to let it be, okay? Here we go, guys. Let's begin. What do we, first one. We have mentor or coach, right? So you can be seeking a mentor in your life, or you guys can be in the situations, or you guys can have the mentality, I should say, of learning that or seeking out that everything that you come across can be considered a mentor or a life guidance in your life. Meaning, like, say you're watching videos, to reading books, to watching movies, to going for walks or whatever, and you see signs and signals or information blasted anywhere. Like, this could be somewhere like on a bus or on a train station, and you start to kind of look at everything like an opportunity to learn, kind of like a mentor would tell you. Like, somebody of a mentor that wants to guide you in the right direction is going to teach you certain things to be able to put those skills to use in your day-to-day lives. So you could be starting to seek out mentors, or you could be starting to see that everything that you learn in life can be of a mentor aspect. Like, somebody is teaching you things in a way, right? Kind of like allowing the universe to teach you life lessons and things like that, right? All right. The next one we have, let's see. What do we have for the Aries? Aries. All right, we have magician, right? We have magician. So magician, I say magician energies, right? Maybe in a process of learning about the magician energies, maybe in a process of learning about magical things can happen. Allowing yourself to have that mentality is one of the most optimistic things in the world, because I feel like if you have the mentality of knowing that magic is in the world, knowing that magic is in the air type of thing, you can unleash different things that you didn't think you could. Meaning, whereas if you feel like life should be always about practicality, I'm big on both. I believe that you should put in the work and put in the time and the effort, but I also believe that different things can happen in your life that can be unexpected, right? So the same way we can expect, or we can talk about negative things to be unexpected, is the same way that we should be implementing positive things as well. So you're potentially having this magical mentality or magical energy, I should say, where you go through your day-to-day lives nowadays on some, like, anything's possible. I can get the dreams and the desires that I wish for. It might not be exactly. For an example, I used to always say, if you aim for a mansion, you get a house, right? If you aim big, you always get what you need. For an example, you might not get a Lambo or a McLaren or whatever the case is, but you could get a Benz or BMW or something, a luxurious car, but it's not as slightly. Now, that doesn't mean that materials are everything, but it's just saying that for those of you that value materials, it's nothing wrong with it, but just kind of have that acceptance as well. Like, okay, maybe your career choice, you're very happy where you're at as far as what you do in your day-to-day lives. It makes you very happy, but on a financial note, you might not be able to afford the Lambo, whatever the case is, but at least you can purchase the second best, or another luxurious car that you prefer, which is like a Benz or something like that. I'm just using it as an example for you guys that probably want a house and land and things like that. Any material thing that costs profit, just know that if you are happy in your day-to-day lives, meaning what you do in your 24 hours, it's okay to accept what God has given you as far as the things that are probably not exactly what you want and what you aim for, but you got next best, right? And it doesn't really matter how much an item costs. It's just an example, right? So I'm just giving you guys that to show you what having a magical mentality could do for you. It allows you to be more optimistic about life. It allows you to seek out different things. And as far as what we talked about prior, the last card, it allows you to see everything as a teaching moment, right? Or a learning experience, I should say. All right, next one we have for you guys, Shaman, Spirit Guide. So these could be situations where you starting to realize that things are being guided, like things are happening for the right reason, for the right causes, right? We might not always understand through our day-to-day lives why things are going the way they do, but in the future you will look back and you will understand why you was built up. See, it's nice to have a plan and a blueprint of where you're gonna go. Sometimes those blueprints have to get, I want to say, tweaked a little bit, right? You know how you guys ever have like a dream when you was a kid, and then eventually it got altered into more of something that you start to accept. Like you might have started off wanting to be a rapper, and then as you got more into the music scene, you decided you wanted to be a producer, things like that, right? That was me personally. So I'm not a producer, but I like I like messing with beats more than I like to actually lay down lyrics on a beat, because I can't, I don't know, it's just different for me. But that's an example I like to use, because sometimes things are not always going to go exactly the way, but you can alter it in a way, right? So you can be guided towards your journey or your soul purpose. And how do you know this is when things don't seem to work the way that it was expected at first, but you kind of learn from those experiences as well. Like nothing in life was a waste of time. Everything happens for a reason, whether we like it or not, and we have to understand this. This is allowing us to use our inner guidance as well, right? Spirit team has already provided us with the opportunities and the experiences. Now it's up to us personally, because we still have to put in the work. Now it's up to us to seek it out optimistically as a spiritual guidance, right? So once we start to do that, we can implement it in our day-to-day lives. Meaning like I said, everywhere you go, you learn. It is a learning experience. Every people you talk to, everything is connected like a spider web. Nothing is unconnected. Like, that's my personal opinion, but from looking at how the world works, I don't believe anything is coincidental. I believe that they have this thing they say is God cadential. It's in one of my cards. But everything I feel like is connected in a way. There's a reason why you're around certain people at the moment. Maybe it's because to teach you gratitude when you get around the new set of people. Who knows, right? But everything has its purpose. And right now you're being spiritually guided to your right path. And the right path is you'll know it when you see it, and you'll know it how you feel it. You'll know. All right. All right. Next one we have for you guys is, actually, I'm gonna do that again. Okay, I'm gonna do that again, just because it came out too. All right. What do we have, Spirit, for? Okay. So this came out, so I'm going to grab that one. It came on the top. Okay, we have fire, or we have passion. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the phrase burning like passion, or passion burning, or you have a passion for something in a way. This could be indicating to that. As we spoke on, when it comes on to your life goal, because I know a lot of you guys are probably, if you're watching videos like this, most likely you're trying to find, you're trying to be more connected and things like that. So as we talked about, when it comes down to your day-to-day lives, and I don't look at it like careers, I always look at it like, well, nowadays I started to look at it like more so about what do you do in your 24 hours. Ask yourself and jot down, are you really passionate about doing something? Or if you could change it, what would you change, or what would you tweak about it? Like say your day-to-day life is going to a certain job, or going to a certain place, or doing certain things, and if you can tweak it, what would you do differently? You know what I mean? This will allow you to seek out your true passion. And writing it down, I feel like is a manifestational way of kind of asking Spirit to make things happen for you. Like I remember, and this not to say that I didn't enjoy slight moments when I was working somewhere at an organization, but I always try to like find different ways in like a piece of paper. I'll write, this time to this time, or what I want to do this time. And I'll try to find different schedules that work, and kind of trial and error to try to fit my passions in. So that's kind of how I knew, like, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to free my schedule. I wanted to free my plans. Not every time this is applicable when you want it. Sometimes you have to wait. You know what I mean? but it's a matter of how passionate are you about this daily a task that you're about to write down on that piece of paper. So I just encourage you guys to do so. If you're got a burning passion, like this lady here playing this guitar, or what is it, ukulele or something like that, playing the instrument. If there's something that you're very passionate about, I encourage you guys to write on a piece of paper and actually think about it. Do some research on it to see that how far you're willing to go, or not how far you're willing to go to succeed this plan, but more so how much do you know about this thing that you're passionate about, right? I'm gonna just give you guys a personal example. I thought because I train, I could be a personal trainer, right? Unfortunately, well, fortunately, because I'm doing this, right? So it's allowed me to tap more into my educational side. But I don't really like to make videos on personal training. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or nothing like that. I don't have nothing against it. It's just me personally, just like music. Me personally, I could rap or whatever, but I would rather make beats. That's just me personally nowadays. So it's like I would dip and dabble, but I had to find something that I was solely willing to do, and this was this. So sometimes you got to make that choice. Sometimes you got to trial and error and try different things out and see how it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work, and that's all about finding your true passion, right? All right, moving on. What do we have for the Aries? Okay, we have Explorer, Adventure. Allow yourself, I'm sorry, Jesus. Allow yourself to get into an energy of going outdoors more, right? You know what's so special about outdoors is it can't really be created. I mean, it can, excuse me, to an extent. You know what I mean? When you look at nature, nature is like you have the ocean and all of that. That stuff can't really be recreated as large as it is, right? Of course. So look into the beauty of things, of nature, right? Get out there and explore. You know, just go for a journey. Just go for a journey. Go in an adventure. You don't necessarily have to go Grand Canyons or nothing crazy like that. You can go outside in your backyard and just kind of gaze into what they say, gaze into the sun, or just gaze in the atmosphere, because everything's moving differently. It's never really the same situation when you go outdoors. If you go outside and you look outside your window, most cases, if everybody's doing their day-to-day task and their weekly tasks, they're probably going to be, doing the same thing, kind of like you see in the movies, like everybody's just doing the thing type of thing. So when you go outside, the bugs, the insects, and everything is kind of different always. Like when you go outside on a rainy day, there's wingworms, or earthworms. They would say earthworms, lingering around in the mud. If you go out there on a sunny day, there's piggly. Well, they call them beetles. So I call them piggly wigglies, but you guys might call them beetles, right? It's like beetles outside, butterflies. So it's a different atmosphere depending on what day you go. So I think it kind of gives you a different mentality, and especially if you've been cooped up in the house all day, it's good to get outdoors and go for an adventure and go for a walk and things like that, right? So this could be called for your calling to get outside more. Go for a slight jog, not even a jog. I'm sorry. Go for a walk, because running is okay for the physical, but we're talking more on the spiritual note. So just go for a walk and just really bring all of that in, really clear your mentality, because that's one of the main things that can prevent you from moving forward, because you can feel so overworked, and you're gonna feel like you don't want that to be an effect to your goals. So go for a walk, clear your mind, things like that, right? Okay, next one. Okay, we have Grandmother or Grace. So I'm gonna say maybe you're in the energy of feeling very slow paced. Cause if you guys look at like how they have like older people, and I'm not trying to diss nobody or whatever, but I'm not trying to, call nobody out, but like say older people, where the mentality of an older person, like the older you get, you become a lot more connected with yourself. Like the older you get, like you guys know, like when you're a baby, saying you're figuring things out, and as you get older and older and older, you become more at peace. We're supposed to, for the most part. Meaning like, you feel like you've done pretty much most things. You know what I mean? So you move with grace, as you see from the top card. I feel like you move with grace. I feel like when you go around older people, they're a lot more laid back and chill. They have a lot of stories to tell, funny stories, sad stories, all of that. But most importantly, they feel at ease with themselves, right? I feel like you got this old soul, this old energy, man or female, it doesn't really matter. I mean, preferably this is, well, specifically this is grandmother energy, but I feel like with this grandma holding a bird, she's very in nature. So this is more so on the positive side, I feel like, and more in tune with your with your world. What's can with your inner self and what's around you, your surroundings. So I would say as you move today, move forward today after this video, go ahead and try to be in the present moment of time. You know what I mean? See, when people get a certain age these days, even in society or back then, however you look at it, they get to a point where they want to enjoy their days, right? In a sense, because when you get to a certain age, it's no longer 35. You know, when you're young, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do when I'm 40, 50, or whatever. Oh, I can't wait till I get 20. Or I wonder what I'm gonna be when I'm 34, 35. At this age in this card, I'm not trying to diss nobody, but at this age, you kind of don't. I never really heard people up there in the 70s talk about when I'm 94. Like, no, I don't think they're trying to rush to that, especially if they enjoy life. I don't think they're trying to rush to come to that. You know what I'm saying? I know they want to meet their maker, but I don't think they want to, feel me, rush to it. I still they think they want to, most times they want to spend time with their grandchildren and all of that before they go. So it's like, naturally, they kind of just want to enjoy the present moment. And I feel like we should all be in this energy. Find little things to enjoy. Even if you're at a position right now where you just terribly hate, find a positive within it so that it can keep you forward, keep you moving forward to be able to come out of them situations, if that makes sense. Because if you get into the depression state, you're probably never going to get out of that, you know? So I would say try to be in the present moment, try to find grace in everything that you do. Try to do things that you enjoy. As you guys know, when you become like retired, like, okay, we're talking about society, older folks, right? When you become retired, you're more so being able to do everything you got your 24 hours back. You know, they probably get up when they want, go to sleep when they want, do this, do that, and they have their whole day ahead of them. So it's like, try to be in that present moment. You might not get to do everything you want to do in a sense, because sometimes we still have to do things that probably are not the most funnest, like clean and cook and all of that stuff, but you just get it done. But as far as like being in the present, being in the moment, not trying so hard to think about the future to an extent, because if I feel like if you focus more on the present moment, you get more obligations done, versus if you focus on the future, you're so busy worrying about the future, you're not really making great quality time. You're just kind of trying to pass time. So let's just try to prevent passing time and really enjoy ourselves, because considering this card, I feel like we never really know our last day, so we should always be at present moment with ourselves. Hopefully that makes sense and that resonates with you guys. That's what I'm kind of picking up when it comes on to drawing this card. Being in tune with the world. As you see, she's got a bird in her hands. I feel like it's kind of like that. All right, next. All right, we have authority, father. If you guys, right, this card's actual kind of definition in a sense is like, it's basically hinting towards letting go of any authority over you, where it's like you feel that, because I will review these cards once I'm complete, right? And I feel like it's a situation to where if there's any, I feel like I done these yesterday, but anyway, because I'm just, it's like I'm just reflecting on it now. This is a situation to where if there is a somebody in your life, like a parent or whatever the case is, that you feel like was controlling or abusive or anything of that nature, it's time to let that energy go in a sense. Yes, you have to place forgiveness, especially if, whether they're deceased or not. They do say in this pamphlet to go ahead and write an unsent letter to them, meaning like you can either do a verbal. To me, you can do a verbal letter, right? You can say things what you was gonna say to them, or what you will say to them, or what you intended to say. You can modern day, you can send a text, but you're mainly supposed to send to someone you trusted, like your spouse or a friend, a close friend, you know. it's kind of just the energy of just letting the energy, right? We say the energy because people, we're in a body, but we have souls. So it's essentially the energy. You're letting the energy know that you forgive and you're willing to move on, and you no longer want to allow them to, in a sense, spiritually control where you're heading. It's time for you to take authority of your own life. You know what I mean? Now this can go, like I said, even if it's a positive energy, like say your parent was a positive role model and things like that, it's still time for you to take authority. As you become an adult, you have to now take the position, right? You have to now focus on being the authority of yourself, especially whether you have kids or not. If you do have kids, then of course you got to be authority for them. But if you don't, then you still have to be authority for yourself. Either way, you have to become your own parent and your own guidance. This is exactly why you have situations to where, let's say, if you had a parent and your parent was around in your life, and you have this guilt feeling that you're not doing what they're desired for you to do, whether it was negatively or positively, it kind of impacted your life a little bit, and you kind of feel like resentment towards them because you feel like they didn't accept you for who you were or whatever the case is. Um, all I can say is, by doing so, by letting them go, and by you just telling yourself you have authority and full responsibility. Because just as you have responsibility over your life, meaning if you're not a kid anymore, you go in the store, you steal something, you're going to jail, right? The same way you have responsibility for your own life as an adult, you have the authority to make the decisions that you need, and without having to worry about their judgment on your life, right? I mean, you're gonna see it, you're gonna hear about it, but don't let it affect you, because the same way you have to accept the responsibilities that you do in your day-to-day lives as an adult is the same way that you should honor that by taking authority back. Not back, but by taking authority, right? So being your own authority, things like that. That's typically what it's hinting towards, and this is all a part of growth as well, right? It's all a part of growth. All right, and we have plant or seeding, growing, right? In a sense, growing to where you actually want to pursue. Like as I was talking about before, start getting into situations where you start writing on, if you had 24 hours free to yourself, what are the things that you want to note? How much time you want to spend on certain things? And I know this sounds crazy, but everything that's big in life is crazy. Every astronaut was the craziest person. Every teacher, what you want to teach information, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? They thought so much things was crazy. I'm not even gonna name drop a lot of things because I feel like I don't really know. I don't know as much information as I want to before I just go out and call and stuff. But if you write down the things that you want to do, that's the first step. You're planting something. You're seeding something into existence, and then you start to actually do it. That's when you start to grow. You start to grow, you start to grow, you start to grow, you start to nourish it, and by nourishing it, the dream or your desires or whatever. But when you water it, meaning if you metaphorically water yourself, it just means that investing into whatever that is. Like, say you want to be healthy, you go out and you invest food, the right food sources. You're eating at and it's not just about, like, here's the thing, it's not even just about eating at the right food. You also got to eat at the right times. Meaning you have to give yourself good timings, like to eat food. Like, you know what I'm saying? Try your best not to be eating random as well. Like, I'm not no health, nutrition, or nothing like that, but I feel like your body reacts a lot smoother when you're having consistent eating habits. Like me, I'll eat, I'll cook around like 6 a.m. in the breakfast, then and that's just my personal. I'm gonna give you guys this. So I like, regular, like 6 breakfast, 12 lunch, and then at 6 p.m. I keep it very consistent because it's like, when energy don't lie, right? So if you say, well, I'm not hungry right now, like you're hungry, but you ain't hungry enough where you feel like you gotta eat lunch or whatever. If you miss lunch, or you miss a decent portion, just a little snack at least, right? Or if you miss dinner, let's say you you can eat a decent meal for lunch and be fine. But if you feel fatigued or whatever the case is, don't crawl in your bed and try to like sleep it off. Go grab something to eat. Go make you a salad or something, because you're nourishing your body, which if your body is the energy, if your body is the machine that's going to get you where you need to go, right? By you feeding your machine, you have a higher chance of reaching those goals, because you don't want to get fatigued and then eventually those bad habits start to repeat themselves. You skip out on your work life, or whatever the case is, whatever desires that you need, or whatever tasks that you need to get done, you skip out on them. You don't want to clean, you don't want to cook, you don't want to do any of that. And those habits repeat themselves, and eventually, before you know it, you got all these problematic situations that have built on each other because you didn't want to get rid of them while they needed to, right? So this is just something for you guys, some food of thought to just kind of think of it that way. Think of it in a way where if I provide for myself, or if I put the time and energy needed, I will grow, and I will nourish, and I will become a plant, and I will continuously grow throughout my last days, right? So just keep that in mind. That is going to complete the video for today for the Aries. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video.